thing that I want to discuss from web application aspect. I hope you all are able to see my screen. Great, let's move on. So whenever you are dealing with the initial footprint onto the network, you must check, is there a possibility to get a shell back or not? Most of the times, the network will be configured with different services. One of those things that you may come across if there is a web application, most importantly a content management system, is virtual hosting. So I have a mission as part of this network. If I try to access the web page that is running, the web service running on that mission, right? Let's see what happens. When I go on 192.168.0.156, you can see it immediately redirected to vulnerable domain. Virtual hosting, for example, Apache. Apache allows us to host multiple instances on, multiple web applications on the single instance of Apache. So if you configure this domain name into your host file, then only you will be able to access that website. If not, it is not possible for you to access this website. Please note down this point in your notes. So whenever there is a domain name, for example, if there is a website like hackerschool.local, you can actually load this. So in my local environment, there may be some domain. There is some kind of web application that is hosted with this domain, hackerschool.local. Only if I add this onto the host file of my Linux machine, I will be able to access this. So to do this, simply go onto your terminal and open etc host file that is present under etc location. So nano/etc/host. As I'm modifying the host file, I must do it as a root user. So in addition to all these entries that are present, I'm going to add one more entry addressing the IP address, which is 192.168.0.156, right, which is going to take me on to vulnerable. So I'm going to copy this domain name and back to the terminal. Add IP address as 192.168.0.156 and paste that domain name there. So if you are using enumeration with the help of, if you are doing enumeration using a tool like WP Scan and all, you'll actually start this process only if you see WP instance that is running, WordPress instance that is running. But to allow this WordPress page to properly load, you must have virtual host configured. For certain versions of WordPress, it is compulsory. Of course, we can tweak the configuration file to make it run on IP address, right? So as you can see, we have our HSV box one running at 192.160.0.183. So in this case, when I direct to the location WordPress, you can see WordPress is properly loading. So in few versions of WordPress, until and unless you tweak the configuration file, you will not be able to access the WordPress page, or else the WordPress page will not look good until and unless you configure the virtual host. So in this case, I'm able to access it with IP address, but in this case, only after adding this entry, the IP address to the domain name. So whenever you access this domain name, it will redirect to this IP address. Now, if I reload this page, I will be able to see the WordPress application. This is one thing that you must note when you are performing pen test in a network, especially if there are some web servers that are running. Okay, so please note down this point. The file that you must edit is etc host, in which you must write an entry with the IP address of the mission and the host name, like this. Anyhow, this is one simple example that I want to pick to show you one thing that I missed during the web application module. And let's go with one more important thing that you must understand. Every time you will not be able to get reverse connection. We discussed with bunch of different examples in network pen testing modules, especially when we are talking about egress bursting and all. So to get reverse connection, you must make sure that there is some port that can allow you to receive the connection from the target. If that is not possible, then you must try to see if you can upload some shell on the web application itself. So in the last class, we actually did that by simply taking some web shell and uploading it onto WordPress. I hope you all remember that. And we are able to execute commands right from the browser itself. In that scenario, there is no reverse connection thing. Let us imagine that there is no possibility for that kind of activity. Then you can take advantage of performing something called as SSH log poisoning. Have we discussed this SSH log poisoning in the last class? Yes or no?
No, sir, we have not discussed about
Okay. Then let me go with that thing. In fact, as I mentioned in the actual CPENT exam, everything that is there in the material, right, is not going to work. And this is one thing that I must stress on. You must think beyond the actual scope, right? All actual content that you have in the material. That is the major intention. In fact, every penetration tester must have that mindset. That is the reason behind EC Council CPENT goal of not giving you everything that is there in the material. When I say not giving you everything, just 20% is what left for student to explore and come back. 80% is from the material itself. So one too good example is to go with your HSV box 1 that I've already shared with you, right? And I already have that application, the mission running at 183. Let me head towards that website. And in the last class, when we executed this WP scan, we saw that this application WordPress instance is running a plugin that is vulnerable for local file inclusion. In fact, I've showed you on how you can access that file. I mean, any files on this computer by exploiting local file inclusion. Say, let us go on exploit DB. And the plugin that we were talking about on that day is site editor. Site editor 1.1.1 exploit. That will take you to exploitdb.com, and on exploitdb.com you can see the proof of concept, which tells which directory or which file is actually vulnerable for it and where you can trigger this loophole. This is the location of WordPress plugin directory where the local file inclusion will work. I'm going to copy this path and head towards this path on my mission. Please note that in this case, WordPress instance is running inside WordPress directory. So let's run this, and I'm able to access etc passwd file. Local file inclusion is interesting. We can include all the files, but we may not be able to include everything that we want. So the challenge in the exam can be like this. They may ask you collect a flag that is placed under user's home directory. So let's, in fact, there are no flags here. So let's go and create that flag and see if we can access it or not. Okay. So I'm going on to Muggles directory. Muggle is the default user. You already know the name. I'm going to create a file. like flag.txt. Let's put something. Raise Reva. So that is the content of the flag. So if I check the permissions of this file, so this file is accessible or read only by Muggle user, not by everyone who logs into this machine. We are accessing this web application as a web user. So if I want to read the file which is placed under Muggle's home, in fact, they will clearly mention capture the contents of the file or else submit. The challenge will be like this, and they will give you question in detail asking you to paste the contents of the file that is placed under user's home location. They will not tell you who is the user. But with etc passwd, you know, there are users like Muggle, right? Harry. So user home directories will be under /home location. So /home/Muggle. And as they give you the file name flag.txt, see, I'm not able to access that because you don't have permission as a www data user. This can be one of the challenges in the exam, right? What to do at this point? You must somehow take advantage of getting reverse connection. What if the reverse connection is also not going to work? So all ports for outbound communication are blocked. You will not be able to go and get a reverse connection. Then how? This is where advanced techniques like log poisoning or web log poisoning will help. If the machine have SSH port open, then we can take advantage of that SSH port to perform SSH log poisoning. Most of the times, the web servers that are part of the network will have this FTP or else SSH ports open or SMB ports open. So you can take advantage of poisoning the SSH log file. So please note down this process. If you are not able to access any of the files that they ask you to get the contents from, check if the log files are accessible or not. The log file, I mean, the Apache or sorry, authentication log file will be part of var log location. Var log auth.log is the location of the log file. Are you observing that I'm able to access the contents of log file? Great. This is yet another misconfiguration. In general, the log files will not have that read permission. But there are chances where, because of some certain misconfiguration, you may identify some other files that you can access. Yet another file that you can access and poison is var log apache2 access.log. So this is web log file, Apache log file. So you can take advantage of poisoning these files to execute your PHP code. How is this going to work? Say you are loading some content in the browser, and this is a WordPress application. WordPress is built with PHP. If you can inject some kind of PHP code into this log file, then when you access this log file on the browser will treat the actual PHP instruction that is part of this file as a code, and it executes it on your browser. Interesting, right? But how to inject this PHP code into this log file? This auth.log file will have all the entries for the logins that you make, either failed login or else success login. So right now, let us make an entry into this log file by simply logging into that machine, but not with the normal user password, but with the actual PHP code, right? That can give us command shell. So how to do it? I'm gonna execute SSH. At first, we need to open that SSH port on this mission. This is specific for this device because you all know I discussed that port knocking concept, right? So only if you knock this port thrice, you will be able to see SSH port open. So to make success out of this particular technique of converting local file inclusion into remote code execution, you must take advantage of SSH port. If SSH port is closed, you will not be able to do it. Port is still closed. Why so? Okay. Entered wrong IP address. Very good. Now you can see that the port is closed. Sorry, port is open. Now I'm going to connect to the target port, SSH port. In general, we'll write the username @IP address, right? But instead of username, within double quotes, I'm going to add the PHP code. What PHP code? You know this extension? This extension have some PHP reverse shells, right? So PHP remote code execution, basic remote code execution. When you have successfully uploaded your payload, right? Just put the commands after this variable CMD $CMD is equal to, and you will be able to execute commands. It means this particular command should be executed by the browser as a PHP code to do this particular task. So I'm going to copy this and use that as a username. For sure, this login will fail. We're not worried about logging into the machine. Somehow you must manage to make an entry in the log file for this. That is our end goal. @192.168.0.183. We don't know the password. I'm simply dropping some random password. That's it. This entry must be there on the log file. If I reload this page must execute it. Now, to execute the commands, what is that we must do? We must add $CMD is equal to whatever command that you want to execute. So let us execute ID command. I don't know why it is not working. Instead of question mark, let's go and add ampersand. Very good. So you must play with these two options. At times the question mark will not work. There you add ampersand. Are you observing the result of ID command? Now, who executed this ID command? HSVbox1 server executed it. Are you understanding? Now you can take advantage of reading some files from a different computer or a different path. Say if I want to read some other log file, or else if I want to execute some commands, right? Say ifconfig. So now ifconfig got executed. Are you seeing the result of ifconfig here? The IP address, domain name, or the other details that are present. Now let's add one more misconfiguration here. I'm going to allow everyone to read this file. So in the question, if they clearly mention to access the content of the file, they must have some kind of way to allow you to access that file, right? So you must figure out that technique. So let me add permissions for everyone to read. Say instead of giving 777, let's go with 666. Everyone can read and write flag.txt. Now if I specify the path, so instead of this ifconfig command, I'm going to write cat home, right? Muggle flag.txt. So you must be able to see race Reva somewhere in this content. Where is it? I can simply search for it. Control F. Oh, we are not able to see that. Not able to see that. Let's cross check the command. So cat, the content of home, muggle. Okay, I think the permissions for the directories are not properly set. So everyone can actually read the content of flag, but they cannot enter the directory of muggle, right? So ls-la or else ls-d muggle. So let me increase the size of this window so that you all can see it clearly. Let me clear the screen. So this is the content of the file, which is readable, but we must give permission for everyone to execute, right? What? Home muggle. And everyone must be able to open this home directory also. Obviously, you must be able to do it with root permissions. So let me switch to the root account and see, or else let's check what are the permissions that the home directory have. So in the exam, you don't need to worry about all these configurations, but this is all just to make you aware about misconfigurations that we do. So changing permissions, giving everyone whatever permission that they want. I think everything is good by this time. If I execute this command, somewhere I must be able to see the content of raise Reva. See, here it is. Got it? So the question is to grab the file, right? And if you are not able to get reverse connection, don't worry. There must be some other way. SSH log poisoning is one interesting technique. Again, this is the standard source. You can search for SSH log poisoning. Hacking articles. They have article related to everything. Remote code execution with LFI and SSH log poisoning. Do you know that? Most of the web related challenges are of 125 points in CPENT exam. So most of those things will be from the techniques that I have already discussed in the class. So please make sure that you revise them. See, for today's session, I'm telling this is important. This is how the question will be. So please don't stick to that one single topic and then revise that and try to go with CPENT actual exam. Okay. Make sure that you understand the concepts and practice this a lot. So you can also do the same with weblog poisoning. I'm going to leave that as an assignment for you. Please make sure that you practice that weblog poisoning when you are doing this on HSV box 1. I actually configured it badly so that you can perform log poisoning too, weblog poisoning too. That is the reason why you are able to access the contents of var log Apache to access.log. You are able to access this. You can also perform this weblog poisoning. So you can use burp proxy to intercept the traffic, right? And somewhere in the headers, remove the actual content and put this particular PHP code. That's it. The web request will have that particular PHP thing there. When you load that on your browser, then the PHP code gets executed and you will be able to execute commands from there. Okay, these are the two important things that I want to mention again. which we missed in the previous session, but now I hope you noted all those details. Done. With that thing said, it's time for us to move on to the last part for this module. For this last portion, I will be using my iLab platform for doing all the practicals. So let me go on my lab platform. Let me log in and then show you how to access. I think all of you are doing practicals on iLabs. So how many of you are doing practicals on iLabs? How many of you already have access to iLabs platform and doing practicals there? So if you already started doing practicals on iLabs, please drop P in the chat. Okay, how many of you have already activated your iLabs platform? Are you there with the iLabs platform access? If you're already there with access, please drop A in the chat. Good, great. Very good. All right. I think almost all of you have access and you can start labs directly from here. So network pen testing, internet network perimeter pen testing, right? Web application methodology, IoT, OT. And please note that there are no practicals for cloud or else Wi-Fi. In fact, those concepts are not there in the exam also. That is completely a theory module, right? But instead of doing that theory module, I replaced it with Active Directory just for your advantage. Okay. So theory you can actually revise. Please make sure that you revise all theory modules also, right? I'm leaving that as an assignment for you, or else you can take it as a self-study module. Okay. So let's launch the lab for IoT. Most of the things that you see on these 3 chapters, sorry, most of the things that you see in this module 10 and module 11 lab, so IoT and OT SCADA, will give you more points. Before this lab starts, let me tell you how the exam pattern will be. I hope almost all of you are here so that you are not missing. For the CPENT's actual exam, I'm not talking about the internal exam. So for the actual end exam, if you are planning to write the 24 hours exam, you will be given access to 5 different zones. And each and every zone will give you 500 points if you have successfully submitted the answers. There can be any number of questions. There can be 10 questions or 20 questions or 30 questions. There is no parameter on how many questions that they ask, but combining all the points, you will have 500 points for each and every section. 5 sections, 500 points for each, 2,500 points. So 100% is 2,500. So to clear the exam and earn LPT, you must get at least 70% marks. Means 1750 points or so. So if you clear if you gain 1750 points, you are there with LPT. If you earn more than that, I mean, if you earn somewhere around 2,200 or 300 points, you will acquire master, LPT master certification. Same exam, but 2 certifications based on what is the score that you have. Okay, this is one thing that everyone gets confused. So please make a note of it. There is only one practical as part of this IoT section, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So you can see at the bottom, you can click on the exercise number that opens up the panel. And under resources, you will have the missions. So for this IoT, there is only one mission. Based on what is the module that you are starting, this particular count will change. So in this resources section, I have Parrot with Pentester as username and Tor as a password. So I can log in to this mission and start doing the practical that is mentioned here. So this is why iLabs is very convenient. You no need to set up any lab. You no need to have any kind of virtual machine setup. You can directly open your browser, spin the instances right from the browser, and then start using those missions to attack. So in case of IoT, reverse engineering is our process. I mean, this may not be the actual one that you do as a penetration tester in the real life, but it is good to understand this. Most of the times, if you are a forensic investigator, there you may come across this kind of activity. Extracting the firmware from this computer and then looking at the content inside it. For example, on this particular Parrot mission in the Pentester home directory, I think, you will see a bin file. You can actually reverse engineer that bin file using, yes, there is firmware.bin. So you can reverse engineer this bin file using a utility called as binwalk, right? So let me open my terminal. So I'm going to copy file named as firmware.bin to my desktop. Anyhow, the complete practical is mentioned here. So let me show you what type of question they may ask you from this. So this is easy to score. All you need to do is to run binwalk command. Binwalk is a default utility on both Parrot and Kali. So firmware.bin. This will display the information related to the firmware's actual disk formatting and so on. So squash HFS file system. You can actually see how many bytes, nodes, blocks, right? What kind of indentation is used, creation date, and so on. In the exam, they may ask you what is the file system. Very simple, right? But you may not earn somewhere around hundreds of points there, but these type of questions will have somewhere with 10 or 20 points challenges, right? So it is varying for zone to zone. So all you need to do is to run binwalk, right? There is no complex aspects that you can do. In fact, the initial stages of CPENT, they thought of leaving these routers in the network so that when you are doing the pen test, once you come across the router, you must extract the contents of router, simulate that thing, and then see how you can attack it with the passwords that you grab and so on. And that is very complex, and it becomes a huge task for anyone who is going with the exam. That is the reason why they modified it after the first iteration of the exam. So you can simply use options that are part of binwalk, like extracting the content of this bin file using -em. This will extract the content of the firmware, where you will actually see the checksum that is present, and even more details about this file or the program. Are you understanding? So after extracting the content, let me go and add to the downloads. Look, sorry, let's do ls. Acha, I did that on the file that is already present inside it. Yes. So when I extracted this firmware.bin, you can see there is a new directory, firmware.bin.extracted. Let's head towards that particular directory and list the contents of this directory. You can see the entire disk or file system. So let's head towards the directory and see what is the contents inside it. This is the entire Linux file system that is present. In fact, routers will have the Linux variant of the kernel, and you are seeing all those contents. Now they may ask you to acquire a password of a user, right? So if I head towards etc location and see if there is a file, sorry, not that /etc. Let us come back with cd hyphen. Let us head towards etc that is present inside this location. You can see there are a lot of different files. File that is of our choice or of our interest all the time is passwd file or else shadow file, right? So if I cat the contents of passwd file, you can see there is a user called as admin. So in case of shadow file, we may get some shadow, and you know John the Ripper. So if you have hash inside it, unfortunately there is no hash present here, but if there is a hash present inside this, you will be able to crack that hash and know the password. And the challenge can be like giving the password of that admin user. How you will do that? Only if you know that we can extract the content of this bin file using binwalk. So most of the challenges will be this simple. So that is the demonstration that is present here. Everything is detailedly explained. Apart from this particular process, they also mentioned how to emulate this firmware. Emulating this firmware is more on replicating the actual router login and all on your machine. So to emulate this firmware, you need to have Firmodine installed, right? So installing Firmodine is a bit tricky, and most of the times you will see a lot of errors. So I recommend you practicing that Firmodine thing here in the iLabs platform itself, right? So you can take advantage of the material here. I don't think some explanation is needed for something that is detailedly explained on the material like this. That is the reason why you saw me not opening this for a long time, right? But trust me, if you are done with the things that I explained in the class, these iLabs look very simple for you. So that is one practical that is present here. With that, we are done with our IoT. And if I open the SCADA section, OT and SCADA protocols, especially the ones that are not doing some kind of encryption, right, will allow attackers to sniff the traffic and see if there is a possibility for them to perform replay attacks, like modifying the content and then taking advantage of controlling that infrastructure and so on. In fact, when we use this automation part or else in any OT SCADA environments, so if there is a thermostat, if there is some kind of hardware equipment that is controlled by signals like this, retransmitting some codes can actually trigger some danger. The chances are the code that you are going to send towards that particular controller may increase the temperature of it, causing a lot of damage to the infrastructure or else the production, right? So anything can happen. This is something that is new into a pen testing domain, but yes, sooner or later you may see more environments to be tested with this SCADA vulnerabilities here and there. So even in this, there are two practicals. Both are related to the Wireshark traffic analysis. So it is hard to set up that SCADA environment, even though there is a practical that is part of your iLab environment, right? They are going to give you the entire process of the steps, right? For only analyzing the Wireshark. Means they are not going to show you any kind of lab setup for simulating that SCADA thing, right? So all you have in this particular section is to go and take the Wireshark dump and analyze that dump to read the contents of Modbus traffic. So even in the exam, you will have the same. But please note that in the exam, they will not give you a Wireshark capture. There you must do that dumping. How? You know Wireshark? You know how to sniff the traffic. So that is why on day 2 or 3, I mentioned whenever you are not seeing any way to exploit, start Wireshark and observe traffic. That is the same thing that we did in solving this HSV box one, right? So there we got to know that there is port knocking because of the messages that we see. We got to know that there is some port open and hitting with some kind of banner because of the Wireshark analysis that we did. So that is the same exact thing that you must apply here to analyze traffic. Most of the questions in this particular section will be related to the analysis part. So they may ask you how many responses are there, how many requests are there, right? But simply going on this particular lab, you can easily understand how it works, right? So both the practicals are associated with the same capture analysis. And we already did this WHOIS, exploit DB. So I covered all these things in a different fashion than the ones that are there in the order of this iLabs. I hope you all can easily understand, right? So there are some modules that you can use that are part of Metasploit for scanning the SCADA environments. So you can see they actually started by picking up some IPs from Shodan, which we actually went through in few examples, gathering some email addresses or cached copies from Wayback Mission. So I recommend you to first go through the 5-day training program recordings, right? After that, jump onto iLabs. I feel like that will be easy for you to understand, because if the concepts are not familiar, especially the Active Directory or IoT, SCADA and all, right? You will be tensed about what is the content that is present there. Especially, let me show you the Active Directory thing. So Active Directory pen testing, if I launch the lab, there are only 2 practicals for it. So in the lab, the topics or the experiment that you are seeing imagines that you are already familiar with that attack. So it directly performs that attack. But unfortunately, most of the pen testers who are beginning their career in the field of pen testing will not have the actual understanding of all these concepts from their experiences. That is where this can be a little bit complex. So please make sure that you read that Hackers Playbook, Module 4, for this Active Directory understanding. Yet another 2 good resource is to spend some time on Hack the Box Academy. I hope you all are familiar with Hack the Box challenges and all, but Hack the Box Academy got a lot of fundamental theory and also some practical exposure, right, for these concepts. So if you head towards the learning paths, you will see there are so many rooms. It is same like Try Hack Me. I hope you all heard about Try Hack Me. So Active Directory enumeration section. So if you go through the contents, I think you need to sign up to see all the contents. There are 3 modules for it. So PowerView related room, Bloodhound related room, LDAP related room. In fact, these are all out of scope for this module, but will help you later, right? When you are in an actual job working as a penetration tester. So there are some junior path roles. So junior pen tester, there is one Active Directory module out for this one. Let me check. So Active Directory enumeration and attacks. So only if you log in, you will be able to see the content that is present. And Try Hack Me. So in Hack the Box Academy, there are 5 rooms, I think, related to Active Directory. So all are too good. So along with the practicals. In case of try hack me, so these are all additional things that you can do for Active Directory, right? Apart from the iLabs platform. So on this hack the box, you can head towards the learning section, search for Active Directory. There are a lot of different rooms. So Active Directory fundamentals, right? Post exploitation basics with the help of Mimikatz or MSF Venom. So Kerberos attacks. So Kerberosting is one simple example that I've given, but there are so many things that you can do with misconfigurations, right, in AD environment. So Active Directory basics, you can start with basics. So most of these basic rooms are free. I'm not encouraging you to, I'm not pushing you towards paying them and using it, but most of the rooms are actually free if you log in. So I always encourage you to go with free content. That is more than enough, right? Only if you want to take advantage of running labs and all, yes, of course, you need to pay them to access that content. So those are all alternates that you can pick, right, to learn more about Active Directory. And in this case, we are directly logging into domain controller. Are you observing that? So default 2019 DC, you are directly logging into the domain controller. But in the exam, this is not the way how you can directly log in, right? Here we have ID and password. We can directly log in and gain access. With simple clicks, you can enter the password. This simplifies your job, but this is not the way how the exam is. In the 24 hours, you must put a lot of research time, right? That is why I explained all the process in today's first half, so that this thing will be easy for you. So if this is DC domain controller, you can actually access the contents of this server and know more about this domain controller, right? So you can open up the PowerShell or a server manager panel and see how many users are there, how many domains, right? So subdomains. So the PowerShell commands to enumerate the usernames and all, net user. So we actually used all these commands, but a bunch of other things that you can see in this panel. Make sure that you note down these commands. So this is the Kerberos attack that we did, right? But there is no bridging between these things in the iLabs. That is the only thing that is intentionally done to make sure that you put that effort towards it. As I said, 80% is material, 20% is students' effort for success towards this exam, right? So this is how simple it will be if you are thorough with the process. So Kerberosting, taking tickets, and then using other tools like Rebus. We actually used CrackMap EXEC for performing bunch of enumeration, right? And also Impact toolkit for performing enumeration. So the best thing about CPENT exam is you don't have any kind of restriction on what tools to use and what tools not to use, right? So you can use whatever tool that you want, how many times you want. But if you wrongly use it, that can be trouble for you. Same examples for Nmap that I showed you. So as you know Nmap, you start running Nmap, you will see what happens later. You already know what happens there. So your entire 12 hours or 24 hours of duration will be ruined with that, and you will not be able to proceed solving most of the challenges. So what is Impact? How to install Impact? So Impact is by default present on Kali Linux, but in case of Parrot, you need to install. So this is the reason why on day one I actually started Parrot, because that is the recommendation from AC Council. But in exam, there is no restriction. You can use Parrot or Kali or Ubuntu or any other operating system. Said that all these tools are present and by perfectly running. So you can see Kerberos request that they have made, and this is the request that they cracked it. So the same exact command that we used, but in my local domain. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the practice range right now, so I will not be able to show you on how it looks like, but it is simple, like connecting to the VPN and then accessing missions there. And this is the post-exploitation section. Once you gain access, you can run post-exploitation module for enumerating domains, right? So we did nmap scan in today's session, right? For enumerating domains or shares and all. This is exact same thing using Metasploit, right? So this is my advice. When you are moving forward, it is recommended to make sure that you use some manual techniques or else learn manual techniques along with Metasploit exploitation, because exploits are not that reliable all the time, especially with the MS Eternal Blue exploit that we have seen. It is not reliable. It may work at times, it may not work at times. Every option will be correct, but it will not work. Right, so always make sure that you look for other manual method. So in morning session, we were not able to exploit that MS1700, but we are able to connect to the target machine using PSEXCC. Again, if you use Metasploit, then you can go with this module PSEXCC, or you can use Impacket SMBEXCC or PSEXCC. Got it? So loading mimikatz, dumping credentials. So you can see the credentials that are dumped. Using that credentials, you can log in, you can perform a bunch of other attacks, right? So lateral movement or else performing privilege escalation if you gained access as a normal user. So you can see CPENT username, the server name you logged into, what is the password hash. So at this point, it is important for you to understand that most of the challenges in the exam are not like CTF kind. Yes, there are 25 to 30% questions that are CTF questions, means capture the flag, right? Capture root flag, capture user flag, and so on. Apart from that, these are the type of questions. Only if you enumerate them, you will be able to answer it. So the questions are designed in such a way that you no need to exploit all those missions. With enumeration, you can answer certain questions, or with just exploitation, you can answer a few questions. But for few questions, only if you do privilege escalation, you will be able to answer. So keep this in mind. Go through the question, what is that they are asking. Based on that, you change your process or else methodology on how you can get access to that file or else some content out of that mission, right, to answer that. That's it. These are the two practicals, but we did a lot of other things in the session. So keep that as a reference, go through that notes, and after that you can come back to this lab. It becomes easy for you. And one last thing is binary analysis. This is one complex module. May I know how many of you are familiar with assembly language before? So if you are familiar with assembly language, please drop F in the chat. If you're completely new to assembly language, please drop N in the chat. All right. Very good. So this particular module is going to be very critical, right? If we don't have the right fundamentals from operating system and also computer organization. So this will be really overflowing. So I don't want to spoil the entire methodology that we have learned with this complexity to the sessions. So before you move on to this module, I recommend you to read yet another resource for this binary analysis or as assembly language fundamentals kind. Not completely assembly language fundamentals, but how to debug executables. So the book name is, I think, Pentester Academy or Pentester Lab or something. Let me search for it. So these are all random resources that I'm providing. Or else penetration testing handbook, I think. Penetration testing hands-on. Very good. A hands-on intro to hacking. No, maybe. Yes, this one. So go and get this. Paperback is just 3,000 rupees and Kindle is 2,000 rupees. But let me ask Google, please, PDF, please. Arey yaar, I saved 3,000 rupees for all of you. Go get this book. So this is completely illegal. I'm not encouraging you to do that, but so we have this exploit development section, which is part 6 of this, part 4 of this book, and 16th chapter, stack-based buffer overflows in Linux. Right? This is the only section that will be helpful for you from this book. This is how I also read the books. I don't read every book first page to last page. I only start with the things that I am in need at that moment, right? That is how you can proceed further reading more books. So right now you want buffer overflows. So where you can get fundamentals, what are all resources that you have? Prepare your own index of all different resources that are related to different topics. So whenever you are in need of that particular understanding, go back and refer to that particular topic from that book or the resource. That's it. So day by day, eventually you will be able to complete all those books that you have in your hand. So if I head towards this module, can I click and go there? No. So let's go on 361. Yes. Linux, what is stack, what is heap, right? So how stack works, all registers. So most of the questions in this section will be from the registers only. You must be able to debug the executable, find out the contents in the register, right? And what is the actual address associated with a function. So somewhere around 80% questions in this particular module will be from this, will be of this kind only. So at first you need to understand what is instruction pointer, stack pointer and all. It takes a bit of time to analyze and understand these concepts. So please give it the enough time that is required to understand. Anyhow, even without doing this, you can attain LPT master. That is one thing that I can say, right? But few challenges can be very easy. Let me show you those challenges. So this will cover GDB. That is the reason why I picked this resources. There are tons of resources that will help you with buffer overflows, but nowhere you will see GDB as a major thing, right? But in the CPENT, it is all about GDB. So if you refer some random resource and come back to CPENT, you will be in trouble because you don't know the GDB, how to use GDB for analyzing or debugging executables, right? So every process is clearly explained here in the material. You can log in as Mr. Kevin, the creator of this course. So there is an executable called crack me, and your challenge can be like finding some secrets that are present inside this executable. You must analyze this particular executable with the help of basic tools or packages that come pre-built with Linux machines. So as you can see here, when you execute this executable, it is going to ask for password. Only if you enter the right password, you will be able to get success. So you need to find the password now. You can use file command to find out what kind of executable is this, right? How you can actually read the headers. What are the different sections for this executable? So if I start digging deep, we'll bring out a lot of new terms in this explanation. So I don't want to complex the session anymore because we added a lot of complexity in the previous two sessions, which are very, very, very important. So I'm going to leave this section for you to revise, right? So everything is detailedly mentioned here, but I recommend you to see this only after reading this one. So this is where you will get the fundamentals right. So how a program or function gets executed in a C program, right? So what happens when you try to input something that is more than expected by the program? So how it overflows or overrides the contents that are present in memory. So important portions of the program, if those things are overwritten by your input, there is a chance where this program will feel difficult to jump back to the main program back. If it is not able to jump onto the main program, it will not be able to continue with the execution. As a result, it will crash. That is all about buffer overflow. In simple words, very, 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 very simple words, right? But there is more to it. So in fact, when you are going with buffer overflows, uh, understanding the basic program related functionality is also important. So EC Council CPENT thinks that you already know all the buffer overflows. That is the reason why they took this to the advanced level, where they also placed defenses for this. I mean, let us go with a simple example. If there is an executable that is present, which is going to take a given string and store this in memory and print it whenever you want. If this particular input is more than the actual defined size of the space for that buffer, it causes buffer overflow. We all know this. But in the exam, you must take advantage of understanding the executable, perform that buffer overflow, not to crash the program. You must get a root shell out of that program. Trust me, this is going to be a little bit complex and more interesting. Only if you know the assembly language section. So this is where it starts with basic things like tools that you can use to analyze executables. So strings is the default one that comes with almost all Linux flavors. And you can see all the strings that are present as part of this executable are displayed, including read-only sections of the program, right? And also what is the compiler that is used. So what is the standard library, the versions of GCC, right? Those all things. So libc version is also present. The chances are this glibc, the actual library to execute that C program, right? Say if you are writing print statement, so the actual code associated with this print function is part of this library. So at times the libraries that are present on the Linux flavored operating system may have some vulnerabilities that you can exploit. Again, there are kind of advanced exploits that you can choose, where by simply loading module in Metasploit, you will not be able to exploit. You need to rewrite the code according to your requirement and then perform that execution. But executable like this, you can analyze the strings to get the actual challenge cross. Say enter password, congrats, wrong. These are all strings that are present. It seems like this good job is something that I can try and see if I can get success. So if you scroll through this, you'll find that they have shown you multiple tools that you can use, and it takes you through. Radare is yet another tool that will show you the entire assembly language instructions and also the program flow, where it started, where it is moving, what function it is going to execute next, right? A lot of new words coming out, but don't worry. So disassemble main function, we can see the actual assembly language instructions of the main function, right? So what instructions are there? They may ask you the address. Where is this jump function? I mean jump call. What is the address present at the jump call? You need to identify the address of this. Anyhow, here our goal is to find out what is the actual input for the crack me, right? To get success. If you scroll through this, good job is the one that gives you success. Kind of reverse engineering. So yet another debugger that you can use to simplify your job is events debugger, the EDB utility that you are seeing here. What happened? Hello. Yes. So the events debugger, you can also load your program in events debugger to see the entire assembly code along with the contents of the register and so on. But in the exam, what happens is you will not have events debugger installed on the target machine. So this imagine like this machine is somewhere in a different network, sub network of the sub network, which is to be tunneled through bunch of other networks. So you must do double pivoting, then only you will reach this device, right? On that device, you will not see this events debugger installed. There will be only GDB installed. You will not be able to install any other tool because you don't have root permissions there to install the tool. So you must use only the ones that are present there to do this task. So in that case, you can go through the commands that are present here. Object dump, obj dump is yet another tool that you can use for dumping the actual object codes along with the assembly instructions that you see. Hex dump, right? So LSCPU will give you the CPU related information. Most of the times the CPU related information can be part of the question. Right? What is the kernel version? What is the operating system version and so on. So this can be a complex module, but make sure that you revise the resource, the content that is present in the resource first before you join this module practice. Right? So binary analysis on 64-bit machine, the same tools, but on the 64-bit operating system. So they will give you GDB instructions. So nowhere you will find any information related to GDB in the lab environment. Of course, you will have some basic understanding from the material that is present on Aspen portal, but here there is very less thing. I mean, directly they will show you the command. So you must have that understanding well before starting this. So binary analysis methodology. So where to start? Right? What is the first command that you must run? Searching for executables that are that are present on the target mission. So find command. Searching for SUID bit files. We actually did that in the last session for one of the challenges. I think the first challenge that I've given you is more onto this, right? So SUID bit permissions. So searching for files that are of SUID bit, analyzing the content of it, right? Checking process that are running. What are the executables that are associated with the process? What type of executable is that? It is more kind of repeated activities. So read ELF is yet another utility that we can use to read the sections of the executable. So we will find some read-only sections and we'll find some executable sections, program sections. So the program headers are displayed and you can see the read-only sections of the program. So they may ask you on what is the content that is present, what is the address value, what is the alignment that is present. Say from simply executing this command, right, you can find a lot of different details. So is the stack executable or not? Is it writable or not? As you can see, GNU stack, it is readable and also writable. Both the flags are enabled. So they may ask you, for this particular application, they may give you some executable and they will ask you, when you are executing this program on the target mission, is that stack executable or not? This is where I must talk about the defenses that are in place for all latest versions of Linux missions. For example, I explained like you can overflow the input to cause the program to crash and then take advantage of smartly modifying your code to execute a shell and get root shell. But this is not that simple on the latest versions of Ubuntu or any other Linux flavor. Why? Operating systems have some default preventive measures like coming with non-executable stacks, address layout randomization. So what are these two things? In case of address layout randomization, in fact, when you are seeing this program in memory, you will not see the program placed in the same exact portion of the memory every time. It jumps from here and there. The memory addresses keep on changing. So after analyzing, after debugging your program using GDB kind of utility and writing your exploit code with the actual addresses in place, you will not be able to execute that exploit because next time when you execute the program, the memory locations will change. Not only that, it will dynamically change certain content in the memory. So you will not be able to succeed in performing the buffer overflow also. Next one is non-executable stack. In fact, if you want to get a shell from a badly coded executable, you must make sure that this shell, I mean bin bash executable or bin bash program is called by any of the functions in the executable. How you will know this? When you analyze the executable, you may find some bin bash strings that gives you an indication that there is a kind of shell that is already present. Instead of calling so and so function, if you call that particular shell, you will be able to get the reverse shell or else get a root shell or something else. But because of this non-executable stack, even though you find this bin program, you will not be able to execute that on the stack. This is where we perform something called as return to libc attack. Right? I know that these are all kind of complex words that I am bringing in, but don't worry. Only after having this fundamental revision of assembly language, right, you can actually understand these things much better. So I'm going to leave this for you to do research and figure out ways to solve the challenges here. Anyhow, here there is no challenge, everything is mentioned. All you need to do is to execute those commands here and check. All right. So there are some advanced programs also. There are 32-bit buffer overflows, right? So libc exploit to bypass the protection, right? So libc attack to bypass non-execute stack. And the last one is ROP chaining. So even if the libc attack is not working, you must somehow find programs that are running on the computer to chain them in such a way that you can execute the shell that is present as part of any of the content in the memory. Right? Building ROP gadgets and so on. So with that thing said, we are finally there at the end of this module. And I hope you all understood the entire process of how you can perform a real life pen test. So my dear friends, make sure that you build your notes on top of all different material that is already present. Because during the exam, you will not have time, even in the real life pen test. You can't go onto your notes. I mean, you can't go onto the books or the other resources that you already have, right? And then dig deeper and find the answers for the questions that you have. So it is very important to simplify the things and then prepare your own shortcut material using which you can complete your actual pen test. Okay. All right, then with that thing said, we are finally there at the end of this module. Now I open the floor for all the questions. Any questions that you have so far, please let me know. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I will answer them before I move on to one last section for this talk.
So how long it will take, Jain, to fully prepare and be ready?
That depends. One thing that I can say is if you can spend somewhere around 1 hour time on daily basis, you may take somewhere around 1 month or 2 months time to complete. iLabs you can easily complete, but no one can tell you how much time it will take to build that methodology. That depends from person to person, right? Even after holding somewhere around 9+ years or 10 years of experience before writing my CPENT exam, right? I took somewhere around 4 months time. Of course, out of busy schedule, I used to spend somewhere around 1 hour or 2 hours early in the morning, because right from 9:30 or so, my sessions start and I will be busy till the evening. At times you'll have some other pen testing engagements, and even in that case I'll be busy. So out of busy schedule, I took somewhere around 4.5 months to 5 months time, right? Spending 2 hours on daily basis early in the morning. I used to wake up 4:30 in the morning and then take it somewhere up until 6:30 or so. And certain areas are going to eat a lot of time because they are complex, right? The best example is this buffer overflows. And the other example is pivoting and double pivoting. I hope you all understood the complexity that you see in the own lab that we created. Even though we know all the missions that are part of the lab, that too I simplified the job by adding only 4 missions there to perform double pivoting. You can imagine in the exam or the CPENT practice range, you will have so many missions. You don't even know how many missions are there. So it takes a lot of time to first enumerate, figure out, and few things will not respond, right? At times it can be because of some lab environment issues, network issues in the lab, right? At times it will be related to the technique that we are using. Especially with this CPENT, there is no other support that is provided. So if you observe some other labs, some other pen testing related certifications, you may find some articles here and there related to the lab environment or else some kind of hints to it. But especially when I wrote this exam, there is no one who actually cleared it. That there are handful of people, only 2 to 3 people who cleared it, right? So in that case, it became really tough for me to take any kind of inputs from them. So it took somewhere around 4 months to 5 months. But now you can actually find a lot of reviews online, right? And as it is 2.5 years, so 3 years old now, you can find some resources here and there. You can find people on LinkedIn who are already done with the certification. So you can take some inputs from there. Anyhow, no one will tell you what is the entire network structure, because even the creator, Mr. Kevin, don't know how many missions are there, right? They used to push all the content onto the lab and it is left for you to practice. That's it. Even if you ask the creator how many missions are there, how to solve it, how to solve this, it is not possible. That is how near it is to the real life environment. So one thing that I can suggest is that spend at least 1 hour time on daily basis. So it may take somewhere around 2 months, right, to complete, and then you can proceed for the CPENT actual exam. See, I am talking about the actual CPENT exam, 24 hours exam, not the internal exam. Okay, internal exam, you can solve it with the contents that I covered in the session. So quickly practice the things that we actually discussed in the session. I can say that those things are more than enough, right? So you may not find the answer directly, but yes, it is there in your material if you have written the running notes throughout this 5 days of training.
Sir, Jain sir, I have a question. I was trying to set up the lab.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
So from the screenshots that you have sent, I think both the missions are on different range. That is the reason why it is not working. So please open the. Yes, I'm seeing. Okay. Can you please open the network settings for Metasploit?
Yeah, I'm open. Yeah, Metasploit Ubuntu. First, I'll open the Kali Linux.
Okay.
And the bridge adapter.
Very good. Network advanced section, please.
Okay, sure. Yeah, sorry.
Are you able to access internet on this, Kali?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. All right, everything is good.
And Ubuntu. And for Ubuntu, I'm trying to set two adapters. One is
Okay.
10.10.10 and then one is 10.20.20.
Okay, I got your question.
Yeah.
You are not able to see that IP address in your on your
Right,
terminal.
right. Yes, it is giving something like 172.28 like that.
Very good. I want you all to come with that question. That is the reason why I didn't mention in the class. This is how I test. This is how I'll know whether you all are practicing or not. Can you please open that command prompt for mission Metasploitable 3 mission?
Okay.
So you can do a little bit of Googling to get this answer, but you need to dig deeper on Google to get the right fix. So let me show you how you can fix it. For one interface, you are able to see IP address, right? For the other interface, you are not able to see IP address.
Yeah, for other, only for this, I'm not getting those IP addresses. For rest of them, that is okay. If you see the Metasploitable Windows 3, right? And
Yes.
I'm getting like I
For
did set up
Windows, it
with
will
the
work. Yes,
yeah
I know.
bridge adapter, and another one is 10.10.10 NAT.
Yes, that will work. For you, Linux,
Okay.
you need to edit the configuration file. Open the mission.
Okay. Yeah.
I
This is
already
the
got
mission.
that thing in mind based on the screenshots that you have sent.
Okay.
Run sudo su. I request everyone to please note down this in your running notes. So it is sudo su. Now use nano editor to open a file nano space /etc /network /interfaces or interface, I think. Press tab.
Yeah,
Interface.
interfaces.
Okay, open it. And you are seeing the 3 lines from the bottom, like iFace ETH1. Are you observing that?
Yes.
iFace ETH1. So after those 3 lines, add 3 more lines.
Okay.
Add those lines as iFace ETH0, ETH2, as one is already there. Go with ETH2. So start iFace at the starting. Don't no tab space. So it is very specific about the indentation that we use.
Yeah.
iFace space ETH2 inet dynamic. Enter tab address, or you can add whatever IP address that you want, or else let's do one thing. Delete these 2 lines.
Okay.
Delete these 2 lines and head towards the line under the primary network preferences. So are you seeing 2 lines there under primary network preferences?
Yes.
So if you want to configure a static IP address, then you can do it here.
Okay.
We don't want static, right? We can go with any random IP address for now. So auto ETH1 or ETH2, whatever you want to name it as.
After
not iFace, not iFace. Are you seeing 2 lines there? Auto ETH0 instead of ETH0, write ETH1.
Instead of
Instead of ETH0, write ETH1. So you need to write separate 2 lines. Don't modify that one. Write the same 2 lines again. Replace ETH0 with ETH1.
And
we must write that. No. We must write that after those 2 lines.
I understand.
So you can copy those 2 lines and write those 2 lines once again with ETH1. Then reboot the mission. You will be able to see
So
that.
here, how to copy this nano?
Write it down. It is very simple, right? So there are a lot of shortcuts. Auto ETH1, auto space ETH1. So I recommend everyone to please note down this when you are setting up pivoting lab This is important setting. If not, you will not be able to assign IP address for the new interface that you assign. So it is DHCP. That's it. That's it. Control X. Saved. Reboot.
It isn't wrote on that. Yeah, I got it now.
That's it. So you'll have both the IPs. So please, everyone, make sure that you add that so that you can have that thing. This is how I test. I want you all to practice. And if you're asking this question, it means that you are practicing.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. Any other questions, please?
So in the enterprise setup, like is this how like any pen testing, like,
Yes.
team operates? Like it seems like there are a lot of cluster of small tools.
Mm.
Isn't there any enterprise class tool that can kind of encompass many of these functions, all the tools that we have covered?
Very good question. So what happens in the real life scenario is most of the exploitation techniques, or else most of the pre-exploitation techniques that we are performing, cannot be completely automated. Of course, with tools that we have, like the vulnerability management frameworks, so Nessus, QRadar, Splunk. So QRadar, Splunk are more onto SOC operations, right? But they have the modules that you can use for vulnerability management. So most of the tasks that are done by these tools are enough for a small scale industry. But when you are taking this towards a huge network with a lot of infrastructure in place, these frameworks will throw a lot of false positives. Most of the times we'll run these automated scans with one single tool that will provide all this functionality. See, if you see Nessus can do the brute forcing task. It can actually compare the signatures to identify malware, right? It can actually identify vulnerabilities based on versions, port scans, network scan. Everything will be done by Nessus. But there are certain areas where Nessus can't reach. That is where you must manually perform the task. That is very important. Yes, there are frameworks like Nessus or any other vulnerability management tool. Each and every organization use a different framework. Most of them will build their own framework, right? So most of the organizations team build their own framework. This is one of the security reasons. Say if you know what is the framework that I'm using, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, there is some serious vulnerability associated with that. You will start attacking me, right? So that is the reason why people build their own framework and they automate the tasks based on the functionality that they want to add to their regular process and then use that framework. But those are also limited, not completely automated. I think somewhere around 40 to 45% is like manual testing. Same process that I mentioned, like using basic tools individually and then doing it. Right? I hope I answered that. There are automated frameworks, but not completely automated yet. And I don't think that will happen anytime soon. Even if we have smart artificial intelligence in place. So even today, with a lot of technology in hand, our bank accounts are managed by computers and also manually. right? Even the university works. Most of those things are online, but still there is documentation done. So this is also the same. Pen testing is an area where you need to manually test, even though you are automating certain portions.
Any thoughts on how we kind of build a service offering around pen testing? Like we're kind of drawing a blank on like how would an organization like pen testing will be provided as service? Like, other grades or levels of service, or is it by like per hour basis we charge? Like by technology, like how do we go about that?
I think I'm not the right candidate to answer that because I'm not into managerial part, but that depends on the company's policies, how they are going to have their team, right? It completely depends on the team also, how many experts are there, how many freshers are there, what kind of pen test that you are doing, even with different pen tests, say if it is only web application pen test, if it is complete audit, this varies. So I'm not into managerial roles, but people who are there with CSSP or something else can answer this, I think so. But I'm extremely sorry. I hope I gave you the initial input.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question. So,
Yes,
to
yes,
become
yes.
a successful pen tester, is it good to have a minimum of 2 or 3 years of experience in the security domain, like in the SOC operations or any area of security domain, or we can just if we get an opportunity, we can just start on the pen tester career?
Very, very good question. Thanks for raising this. Let me address this. My dear friends, there is nothing such like 2 years experience or 3 years experience or something else when it comes to any kind of role in the field of security. Let me tell you why. Trends keep on changing. The way how new vulnerabilities are popping out from different services or else different kind of infrastructure that we are building, right? Most of them go unnoticed. So as I mentioned, each and every organization have their own methodology, their own tools, their own frameworks, right? Which will introduce new issues, but they are not well tested every time. With this kind of environment that we have where everything keeps on changing on daily basis, it becomes even more complex. So whenever you are looking for a job in the field of security, not only in pen testing, any kind of area, it is very important to make sure that what is the company's requirement there. In fact, this is one thing that you must do, right, before you start applying for a job. So we always go through the requirement. I mean, what is the job description and all. Of course, few candidates will not look into the requirement also. That is entirely different story. There is 0% of success that they may get. But when you are applying for a role, you must understand the company's requirement first. That is the only way you will know what to project, right? And how to grab that opportunity. Unfortunately, most of the candidates who apply for the security roles, especially, will there with some variant skill set. As you have mentioned, yes, there are candidates who are coming from network background. There are candidates who are coming from civil background. There are candidates who are coming from politics background. Yes, there are people coming from different backgrounds into security. One easier thing about security is you no need to have this mastered programming skill, right? Unlike any development role, which is very important. If you are applying for Google or Microsoft, it is very important to pass through the programming skills, right? Or also project your capability of solving problems. But in case of security roles, the more they verify is how you are going to update yourself. Are you going with the same 5 years back scenarios, or else are you there with some kind of examples or scenarios on how the recent trends are causing some kind of threat? This no course will teach, this no book will reach, right? It is all about self-study. What I observed is recruiters mostly take advantage of testing how you apply the skills that you already know. You know Nmap, you know Wireshark, you know Metasploit, you know how to perform pivoting. That is not going to play a major role here. If I give you a scenario, will you be able to solve the problem for me in the organization? This is the same exact thing organization or any recruiter is going to test. Even when I sit in panel for recruiting candidates, I'm very much concerned about giving them scenarios and them asking them to give suggestions on how to fix it. How a candidate can fix or else give a suggestion based on a scenario, a random scenario that he never heard of, only if he or she is there with the right fundamental on knowing where the root cause is. For example, there is a ransomware attack that has happened, right? And there is some kind of damage happened to so and so infrastructure. They may ask you on how you will fix it. If you are an incident manager, or else if you are going to work as a penetration tester, how you can recommend that organization not to come across this kind of incident later. Even though this is more specific to incident management or else some other area where you can dig deeper, the question can come to you even if you have 2 years experience, 1 year experience, or else even a fresher. Because most of the tests that they are going to conduct will only give them an idea of how you are able to think about common threats. They will never ever ask you what is the latest ransomware that is present, what is the latest thing that has happened. These type of questions come only if you already work in that particular area. So make sure that whether you have 2 years experience or 1 year experience, or else if you are a fresher, company require all sets of people. But based on their current requirement, the chance of you grabbing that opportunity and all will change. Got it? I don't know, maybe this is my point of view or else this is my perspective on thinking about this aspect. People always feel like I just have 1 year experience. That is the reason why I'm not getting a role. Do you feel like companies don't need candidates who are with one year experience? Let us take an example of a pen test. So everyone in the team will not be an expert. Do you know that? Experts may know some aspects and freshers may know some aspects. So for experienced people may overlook certain aspects, but the freshers may catch up that because they may have heard about it before, or else they may have recently faced it somewhere, or else read some article and so on. So even when you are going with a pen test engagement, we'll have a meeting to make sure that we have a combination of people, right, which can help us in succeeding and identifying the entire attack map of our organization. Now coming to the point of what are the skills that they may test and what are the skills that we need to have, right? So please note that this is for everyone, no matter whether you are experienced, no matter whether you have 10 years experience or 20 years of experience or 30 years of experience. Whenever you say that you have 30 years of experience, you are increasing the expectation of the recruiter, expectation for the recruiter, right? Obviously, they may expect that you may fix some kind of serious issues in your 30 years of journey, right? So there you can see some advanced type of questions, or else they may see, we can't say it as a question. It is just a discussion, right? No one will test you whether you can answer or not. This is more on discussion and understanding whether you are able to solve the problems that I have in my company or not. Only if they feel that you are able to solve, they are going to recruit, right? Of course, experience or the skill set or some other background graduation or some other education that you have are going to act as a basic parameters to filter and recruit or else call only certain people to the interview. Do you know that most of the interviews that you are going to attend, right, actually started long back and did lot of filtering well before they call you towards their premises? I think you have already heard about it and also came across when you are applying for different security related roles. They will share some kind of challenges with you. It can be a cryptographic related challenge or steganography, right, like kind of challenge. So let me see if I can find few examples that I grabbed from my students who attended interviews. When they applied for interviews, these are the type of questions that they asked them. So I'm not going to tell which company, what kind of thing it is, how to solve it and so on, but let me show you how those challenges look like. So I hope you all are able to see something on the screen. So this is one of the challenges that is received by a candidate. He applied for a security consultant role or something. As a complete fresher, he just did his CEH and he applied for this role. And immediately he received a response from the company, right, asking him to solve this challenge. You will know what is the next step of interview. That's it. Until and unless you solve this, you will not be able to know what to do next. You don't have direct contact with them. Smart way of filtering people. Is it not skill-based interviewing? Right? Now, no matter whether you have 10 years experience or 2 years experience or 3 years experience, only if you solve this, you are going to reach the next level of interviewing process. So in this step, it is more onto skill-based test. The next step can be based on other aspect, right? So this is one challenge. The other challenge is this. The candidate actually received this image. Can you think of what kind of challenge is this? How to solve it?
Steganography.
Very good, steganography.
Maybe in
When you say steganography, you may feel like there can be some password and you can actually guess the password and or else do some kind of brute forcing, extracting hash and so on, right? So they want you to come up with that particular solution, no matter whether you do it completely or not. If you are able to respond back, it gives them the understanding that yes, you have tools in mind, you know how to apply them. And this is yet another example. Let me go and open it in Wireshark. I'm not sure if I can do it or not in Wireshark. So this is one of the challenges that is given for a candidate who is applying for a SOC role. Right? If you come across, we actually gave you HS box on day one, right? So that is having some Wireshark capture. In fact, all the boxes that I build are based out of experience from some student who attended the interview or else some challenge somewhere on the internet or this cybersecurity world, right? So they asked him a bunch of questions on this. Only if he have proper understanding related to attacks, he can actually work with security, security operations team. Say, for example, if you want to set up some kind of logging scheme, you must know what kind of things to log, what kind of things not to log. Are you understanding? So building the skill is very important. I think this example is more than enough for you to understand that. Now talking about which skill to build. Which skill is important? What is the one that we must work on? So this is going to be a different thing for everyone, but I can generalize it like always take advantage of learning things based on what is the existing skill that you have, right? That is very important. Apart from that, you must always take advantage of doing research about the company that you are applying job for and see what is their requirement and build the skill that they want if you are sure that you want to get recruitment in that company. Right? For example, you are applying for Amazon. Amazon may have n number of sections, right? So there is development related role. There can be some security operations role, right? There can be some research related roles, right? So each and every role will have a different requirement here. Now, if you want to get into security domain, you must search about Amazon security related roles, right? On the internet first. You can use your hacking skills for this. For example, you can go on Google Docs, right, and search for Amazon roles, all different pages that you can find on the internet, right, that are associated with this different roles, security roles in the company, right? That is one thing that you can do. Next thing is to talk with people over internet. How many of you have Discord channels? I mean, how many of you have Discord account? How many of you have good connections with people who are working in industry in the domain of security? It can be any kind of area. So connections are the source from where you can acquire jobs. Not only for jobs, even if you are working, right? So actual story begins after day one of your working, day one at your company. Do you know that? So once you join, it is not like everything is done. That is where the actual story begins. That is where you will receive new challenges on daily basis, right? Every challenge will be different. So today you will try to mitigate one, tomorrow you will have something else. This is constant process, same like doctor, right? So you try to cure one disease, immediately something else comes out. You must research and then find out something else to fix it. So it is kind of regular process. So learning from the experiences of others is very, 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 very important. Right? Try to make friends. Try to contact people based on their profile, experience, or else what kind of skills that they have, how they worked on that, right? So try to send requests. Why all will accept that request? No one, we can't expect everyone to accept our request, LinkedIn request or else some other friend request that you have sent. But there are people who may accept it. Try to interact with them. Never ever ask them what is the salary that they are getting. If you ask them, that's it. No answer. You will never ever be able to talk with them later. Ask them what are the roles that are present in that company. Ask them what are the skills that the company is looking for, right? So you can actually look for top 4 companies in case of security related roles. When I say top 4, it is not Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook. You know what are 4 companies that I'm talking about? Hello?
EY,
Very
PW.
good. Yes, very good. EY, PwC, KPMG, right? So all consulting firms. You may have a lot of security related, though those companies will have a lot of security related roles. Especially EY is more fresher friendly. You must understand about company first. What is the requirement that they have? Then apply. People always come with this saying, I have 1 year experience. I am not able to get the job. I performed well, but I'm not able to get the job. Right? So there can be a number of parameters on why they may recruit you and why they may not recruit you. Right? If the skill set that you have is not matching with their current requirement, there is a chance that they may reject you. Right? If the skills that you are there with is not up to the mark for their requirement, they may reject you. If they reject you, that doesn't mean that you are not fit for that kind of job or the role. This commonly happens when people switch between different areas. Always take advantage of relating the skills. You must never ever lose the existing skill set that you have. I don't know from where this trend comes in. I don't know from where this people see this is very trending now, so we need to learn this and jump towards that location. See, everything will have a requirement. So people are talking about Python. Python is very trending. We must learn Python so that you can get job. Acha? After you putting efforts and learning it, tomorrow Ruby will be there. So you'll leave this and then jump to that. This is just simple example, but you must try to adjust to the environment and make sure that you constantly build that skill. It is not like you will switch between different things which are completely disconnected domains. Let me give you this example. If you are good at web development, you can look for roles where web pen testing can be good, right? You can look for roles where you can take secure coding. If you are not good at programming, then go for web application pen testing, right? So from there, you can check for any bug bounty programs. So you can do some kind of part-time thing, brushing up the skills, earning money from there, and also from the job that you are actually doing. So there must be some kind of relation. If you are a network engineer or a system administrator, you can actually look for security related roles in the networking domain. You may look for network pen tester or audit related roles, or you can see how you can get skills related to hardware security, right? So Cisco related certifications may teach you more on to hardware level security. So you must have some kind of relation between the skills that you are learning. This is one thing that I commonly observe, which is lagging. People come from different backgrounds. They have skill from that. They have skill from this, but these two things will not match. And as a result, he is not fit for my actual job, actual requirement that I have at my company, right? So it is always important to learn from the experiences of others, connecting with people over social networking, not for going on asking this constant questions. Even today, I receive a lot of LinkedIn messages. Please tell me if there is a role in your company. How can I recommend you? You are a random person, don't even know your name. I'm seeing your message for the first time. How can I recommend you? It is not going to work like that. You must interact with them. You must ask them what is the requirement that they have, what kind of work that they do. Is it matching with your skill set? If it is matching, then okay, right? If it is not matching, what are the additional things that you must learn? This is never ending process, right? No matter what kind of domain that you are working in. If you are into IT, if you are into computers, then for sure you must keep on brushing up your basic skills and learn something new on yearly basis and push yourself forward, right? That is how you can acquire. And for freshers, one last thing to the question that you have asked. Will I be able to get pen testing roles directly? Yes. Most of the students who actually completed CEH actually grabbed the opportunity as a pen tester for the first attempt that they made. Is that going to work for everyone? No, that is a question mark thing. So we don't know what is the skill set that the candidate have. Even though I trained him for CEH, I don't know what are the additional things that they have. We can't completely say that the CEH certification that he did is the base for him to clear. Of course, CEH can be one of the entry point certification that most of the companies will look at. And at the initial stages, this can act as one priority thing to filter you out of a group of people. Say if there are thousands of people, they may filter only the candidates who have CEH. So nowadays, there are some third party roles, right? Recruitment teams, and there are some companies which work for this particular filtering process. And few companies will actually use automated scheme for filtering resumes and so on, right? So constantly building your profile will really help you for sure. But along with that, you must take advantage of interacting with people and knowing what they are doing, right? What is that you can add to your existing skills to build upon this. One last thing to it is, third point to it is always project your skills in the right direction. If you tell someone that you know how to exploit using Metasploit, people will not trust. Everyone knows. Hello? Are you understanding? Everyone who have access to internet know Metasploit here. Everyone who have access to internet know what is Nmap. Right? Everyone who watch YouTube video, they know what is Nmap. But that is not what we are looking for. We want to see how you apply this Nmap into your real world. Especially if you are a developer. You can try to automate certain activity of pen test. For example, take some bash scripting fundamentals. Write your own bash script to automate the network scanning part and also vulnerability management part. Done. Put it online. Share it with your friends. Make sure that the people are looking at it. That is where you will grab opportunities. Try to participate in challenges. This is very important. You need to project your skill, project your skill, project your skill. Right? Do you know that Hack the Box is one of the most popular platform where there are a lot of security roles, right? There are so many companies who associate with the Hack the Box for recruitment process. So based on the points that you have on the Hack the Box platform, you will get jobs. Do you know that? So in general, we know that these are all platforms that we can use for practice, but those things are turned out to be one of the best platforms to bring out best candidates to work in your company. Of course, it takes time. That is where you must start at the beginning. This is very easy for people who are just completing their graduations or else still there in your initial stages of graduation. That really helps. And as a postgraduate, you must be there at the next level projecting your skills. If you are able to do all these things that I have mentioned now, trust me, experience cannot be a barrier, right? With the pure skill set that you have, you can acquire jobs without any difficulty, right? And I also received some query from some of the attendee. I'm not sure what's their name is. Anyhow, I don't think it is good to bring out their name. Mentioning that they have some gap between the work that they did for a different company before and now. Even this cannot be a barrier if you are able to convince. Are you understanding? Why this can act as a barrier for not giving you a job? Because you are not upgraded with the latest things. That's it. That is the only point there, right? Maybe this is my perspective, but as a recruiter, they may think of whether you are really there with the latest skill set or not. When I say latest skill set, not the master level skill set. No one asks you to build something like Metasploit. No one asks you to bring up something like Nmap, right? So they want to know whether you are able to understand the latest trends, what is happening in the cyber world nowadays, what kind of attacks the organizations are facing. If you are able to convince them saying that this gap that I took is for a reason and there is some time that I dedicated to security community for giving something out to the community or else consuming something from the community, right? Then for sure you will have that opportunity without any doubt, right? So make sure that you build up this kind of habits, then trust me, the process becomes very simple. Got it? I think it is one of the longest answers, but I hope I covered everything that you are looking for, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Any questions? All right. So, yes.
Excuse me, sir. So Sheenu ma'am wanted to join the session when you discuss about the exam pattern.
Okay.
So, can I ask her to join the meeting now? Like,
Sure.
huh,
Now
okay.
we are going to start it.
Okay, I'll tell her to join.
All right.
I am here already, Bhumika. I am just I'm using multiple devices. That's why
Okay,
I'm
All right.
just
okay, mom.
keeping
Thank you. Thank
quiet
you so much.
because
Happy to see you here.
no, so I had to mute other things so that it doesn't
Yes,
disturb.
I know. I know.
Okay, great. And I think your answer to the questions on the careers and the jobs also were very, very apt. And I think that's the only way that. And all of you, please note you are just in the. This is your fifth module, right? Fifth module. You have another 10 more modules to go, right? More than that, plus 2 projects. So those who can wait and then hit the job market with the right skills, your confidence is going to improve by every module. The moment you finish your CEH and CPENT exam, I'm sure you would add that in your resume, and then your market value goes up. Again, we will get on to say SOC management, your SOAR. There are multiple other modules which are going to come, right? So I would request all of you to be a little patient on yourself and then don't panic, as Jayant kept on mentioning. And I think that's the only thing that practice. Keep your portfolios ready, not on the resume, not on the word. If you are saying that I am part of a bug bounty community and I have done something, then show that as a certificate, show that as a money that you have. So show the work, not talk about it, not write about it, but show the work. And it takes time. We would assume that this 1 year you're going to sacrifice your personal life on this, right? So that you can get a good. In fact, in cybersecurity, we keep saying we have almost 100 to 200% hike. Generally, people are getting out of this program. So just be kind to yourself, but be ruthless in terms of spending time on practicing and building your portfolio. But thanks, Jayant.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
think,
It's my pleasure. And
yeah, okay.
it's our regular job, right? It is our
Yeah,
responsibility.
yeah,
And
absolutely. We are, yes.
yes. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
no, it is just everyone, please be on a, know that we are here in case of support required. Some of them might be a little too early to get in if you don't have previous background. That is why maybe connect with your own company for some lateral opportunities. That would be great. Than moving out to a different organization, telling that these. So maybe moonlight and work around your cybersecurity team. Find some friends and lobby with someone so that you can watch what they are doing and dirty your hands there in the same organization, right? So whatever it takes. If your goal has been set, nothing should stop you, right? Okay, so now it is about the exam. You know that CEH is a certification exam. That means we have to do a CEH exam by EC Council. CPENT, only the course materials and iLabs are available. You will have a lab exam, right? You know that there is a pen testing exam, practical exam, where we would create those vulnerable machines and you have to do pen testing. So ideally, CEH is first and then CPENT. But I keep seeing the messages telling that somebody wants to do CPENT and then CEH. So just wanted to hear from Jayant as well. What is the pattern and how they should practice to prepare for the exam? And
In fact,
generally CEH we have 100%. That's what I am assuming, 100% passing percentage. So if
yes.
you practice, yeah, just yeah. So I'll stop, Jayant.
No problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So I'm not sure whether it is the theory exam of CEH or else a practical exam of CEH that they are going to appear for.
CH, I think it
Multiple
is
choice
not.
theory,
Yeah, yes,
right?
yes.
If it is theory, of course it will be 100% pass percentage. But if it is practical, then we must think. If they are appearing for theory, then it's okay, fine.
Okay, let me clarify that today in our meeting.
Okay, sure.
Any thoughts on it? Those who have completed CEH, the practical part of it. I think who is there in this class? Forgot. Who completed CEH from here? Hello.
Nishant sir.
No. Your classmates who have completed.
Oh, okay.
Nobody's speaking up. Mahendran has completed, right? CH?
I think Dave was completed, I guess.
Yes, Dev has completed. Yes, that's true. Dev is not there in the class today.
He's there, ma'am. Devinder?
Devinder?
I'll just text him once.
Okay. One more we have given CHFI, right?
Okay, they
Nobody's
CHFI is also part of one of the module, or else is a separate module?
actually forensic is a different, but it's
Module.
not aligned to CC Council.
Okay,
But,
okay.
yeah, since Devinder and I'm not forgetting the name, somebody else also completed CES, we have given CHFI access. But
Okay.
that is for self-learning.
Okay, okay. So one thing that I can suggest is, if you are going with CEH, there are two versions of the exam for CEH. One is theory exam and the other one is practical exam. So theory exam is like multiple choice, 125 questions, 4 hours of time. And if you go through the questions, you will understand the scenario and you need to answer. Please note that they are not direct questions that you see in all other exams. So they will not ask you what is TCP, what is IP and all. They will give you the scenario. That is what I was talking about before. They will give you a scenario. Based on that scenario, you must tell what is the tool that you'll use. Only if you know the concepts, then you will be able to answer it. So that is the reason why it is very simple. You can easily crack. That is why we will have 100% pass marking for CH theory. And in case of CH practical, it is very much similar to CPENT exam, but not at the level of CPENT when compared with the concepts. So for CH practical exam, the same exact course, right? But the exam pattern is different. For CH theory, 125 questions theory exam, multiple choice, Inky Pinky Ponky style. But if you are going with practical exam, there are 20 challenges that are given. 20 challenges. You will have iLab kind of platform during the exam. And you must go there, look into the questions. Again, there will be multiple choice questions, but they will mention what is that you must solve. And on the other tab, you will have resources, same as what I've showed you in today's session. It looks very similar to that. All the missions will be there accessible for you. They will give you your client missions, IDs and passwords. And there are some missions inside the network, you will not be able to see that. So based on the question, all these 20 challenges, I think it is 6 hours time when I was writing that. I don't know why, how it was now. At the initial stage, it was like 20 questions, 20 challenges with 6 hours of duration. So all you need to do is to read that question, do that challenge, and then submit the answer. So question can be like this. They will ask you, go and identify the IP address of the mission that is running port 445 in the network. So no command given, no options will have all these things. It will randomly give you IP addresses as A, B, C, D options. You must select the right one, or else you might write the IP address. So mostly it will be of selecting options A, B, C, D, right? But you will be able to answer it only after doing that challenge. But the restriction is you are allowed to do that challenge only from that mission, iLab platform mission. You are not supposed to use your mission. Again, that is open book exam. You can look into the commands, whatever you want, you can refer to, right? So you are not supposed to go on Google or something else, but I think you can use your running notes or else the material that is provided by EC Council or any other material that you have to go through and answer. But I don't think if you know what is Nmap, see, I'm not talking like Nmap. I know Nmap is different than I have experience with Nmap. So I know Nmap means you have heard Nmap multiple times, but if you are not able to solve this question of identifying a specific IP address of the mission that is running with this port, then it is waste of time, right? So CH practical exam is that kind. Most of the questions will be of the same. It will be from the material that is present. So even that thing will have a higher success rate to pass. but it all depends on how much practice that you have did with the practicals that are present in the material. So CH theory, CH practical is that kind. So more chances are there if you go with CH practical, but again, that depends to the person, that depends on the company's requirement. Say few companies will actually look at having a practical certification rather than multiple choice thing, because days pass by, we are not there in 1990s or else in 2000s, right? So in 2020, it is completely different, right? So entire IT thing is completely working in a different mode after 2020, right? So we can say that this is a different era. Not only this, even if you pick somewhere around 2015 or somewhere around that years, the way how the recruitment process is, it entirely changed. And the way how recruiters are looking at the skills for the candidate entirely changed. The example that I've given you on how they ask the challenges, right, is the same exact way the CPENT, CEH practical exam will be. So in the question, they may tell you that this is a signographed image, find out what is the content of the file that is present inside that image. That will be the challenge. So 20 challenges must not take somewhere around 3.5 hours to 4 hours for you to complete if you have strong knowledge related to each and every practical that you do, right? Anyhow, you can take 6 hours of time to complete, but make sure that you have all the notes and material done so that you can even get success there. The advantage is if you are done with both theory and practical, you can acquire one more additional bonus certificate, which is CH Master. Got it? So you, after doing CH theory, you will get CH certificate, Certified Ethical Hacker. And after doing CH practical exam, you will get one more CH Certified Ethical Hacker certificate with practicals as the tag to it. In addition to these two exams, as you have did these two exams, you will have one more bonus certificate, no exam, but you will get a bonus certificate saying you are CH Master. It is like you are done with two different graduation courses and you are called as a postgraduate, right? So it is like this. Same CH theory exam, practical exam goes with the same course content. There is no other separate course for CH practical. Coming to CH CPENT. The course CPENT is there stuffed with a lot of new things, as I mentioned. So I think you all got that feel and the flavor of what is the extended content that is present in CPENT from CEH. No doubt, without having a proper understanding of CEH, there is less pass percentage, or else I can say negligible pass percentage for CPENT. Right? Even though it is an open book exam, you all know why it is going to work like that and why you will be not getting success, right? With the example that I've showed you, you will not able to see the missions. Then even though you know how to identify ports, how to exploit that service, it is not going to work, right? So that is why having CH fundamental is very important to appear for this exam. And let me take you through the contents of this exam, say how this exam is going to be completely different from CEH, practical or theory. I think this is the slide that I've already showed you on day one. So the actual pattern or preparation strategy is to go with course ebook, read the theory, do the practicals on iLabs, and the next major thing is the practice range. I don't recommend anyone to take CPENT exam without experiencing the actual practice range environment. Practice range is kind of extension, or else you can say the parent of the exam range, right? So it is like almost same to the exam range, but the questions and the missions are different, but it is the same exact feel that you will get. Unlike CH practical, where we have iLab kind of platform where you will do all the challenges, in CPENT, you will be provided a VPN file. You need to connect to that VPN and then perform all these activities on that network. That is the reason why there is no restriction on using only one browser-based operating system to do it. You can carry your own operating system, right? And set up this VPN file. Make sure that you have VPN client. In fact, if you are using Kali or Parrot, you will have OpenVPN. you will use that OpenVPN to connect to that exam network and then start performing the actual pen test. Challenges in CPENT, I will not be able to tell you how many challenges will be there, because for each and every section, I say that there are 5 ranges that they will give you. And in each and every range, the questions may vary. There can be 10 questions at times. There can be 20 questions at times. There can be only 4 questions at times, right? Holding more points. Say in case of web range, when I was writing, there are around 5 to 6 questions, but each question is of 125 points. So points will vary. So in that case, you don't know how many questions will be there, but yet another trickiest part is there is no multiple choice. They are not going to give you any question followed with A, B, C, D options. They will give you question, right? So in the first range, let us take Active Directory range. So in the Active Directory range, let us imagine that there are 10 questions. The first question is to identify how many domain controllers are there, right? So in that case, there will be a blank space provided. You must write the answer. If the answer is tricky, same as what I've given an example in today's session, if the version is 6.3 or something else that they are expecting, they will give you a hint. They will write hint below saying that it is A.B. This is the format that the answer must be. So as there is no multiple choice, you don't even know what may be the possibility of the answer. This is completely different from the CEH, where there is CEH is on easier side, where there are multiple choice, right? So even if you don't know what is the command, by simply observing this, you must be able to know what must be the tool that you must use, or else what is the command that you can actually run to get the answer, right? So this is one trickier part for the exam. You can feel this only if you go with practice range. Of course, the difference between the practice range and the exam range is, in exam range, there are questions. In practice range, there is no question given. Right? Unfortunately, I don't have access to the practice range right now to show you that. But when you go there, they only give you the sections of IP. So this is Active Directory subnet. So they will give you that IP address range. And on this range, you can actually perform all the tasks to solve these challenges. But in practice range, there is nothing that they are going to give you. They will only tell that there are 8 ranges, 8 sections. So unlike exam range, there are 8 ranges in practice range environment, right? Varying Windows, Linux, a lot of different vulnerabilities. There are missions that are not there with vulnerabilities, right? It is going to hit you like a real environment, right? Everyone will stop at the beginning stage itself by performing network scan until and unless they have the strong fundamentals. So if you are thinking like it is same like CEH, no way, right? You know the difference. So to answer what is the mission with 445 port open, right? By giving you a subnet or as a network range is different from you not knowing which range or how many missions are there, right? To identify that port or else that vulnerability, right? And moreover, this is not like CTF. Of course, there is a CTF range. There is some kind of CTF kind of behavior for few challenges, asking you to go and get the root flag or else a user flag. But most of the questions are kind of configuration related details that they want, or enumeration. So only enumeration can solve around 60 or 65% of questions for you, or somewhere around 70 also, right? So when I was writing, that is the pattern. They may change the questions. Of course, they will change the questions and they will have different sets. So the one that you are going to face will be slightly different, but the pattern is same. So this is about practice range, and in the exam range, there are 5 ranges. So one is Active Directory. The other one is binary analysis, IoT and OT. Those are combined, right? The next one is CTF, and the last one is all onto pivoting, double pivoting. So inside CTF only, we will have the web challenges too. Okay. What is the other one? Let me check my notes if I can find out What are the ranges? Yes, so 5 ranges are like this. AD range, you can note down if you want. AD range, and the next one is binary analysis and IoT range. So binary analysis and IoT range is more like finding out that base address, or else finding out the address of the string, what is the string that is present, and so on. Doing buffer overflows. There are buffer overflow challenges also, right? Next thing is CTF. In case of CTF, you will have web, right? The WordPress thing that we discussed, or else some other web related challenges. You may find out some vulnerable version of Apache or PHPMyAdmin, or else you may apply some kind of local file inclusion or command execution on web applications. So the secret is you will have some vulnerable machine setup, very popular vulnerable machine setup. So the moment you open that page, you will see a web application that you already know. Hello, I must not say beyond this, but I hope you all got the idea, right? Or else simply Googling the word that you see on the web page, you can find out how to exploit it, right? But don't think that it is that simple. So you will see the exploitation process online, but you will not be able to exploit. Why? As I told you, there is no reverse connection that you will get. You must know how to find out and answer the question using that application there itself. That is how the challenges will be, right? So a lot of understanding, enumeration, right, will help you solve those challenges, even though you have material freely available online. Next is the OT range. OT range is more onto this Wireshark analysis kind. So there is Modbus traffic that will be moving in the network. You don't know which machine have this Modbus traffic and which is the source, which is the destination. Only if you start Wireshark and analyze the traffic, then you will be able to understand. So that is OT range. And the next one is double pivoting range. So pivoting or double pivoting falls under the same range. So these are the 5 ranges. Each range 500 points, and altogether 2,500 points. So if you earn 70%, you are CPENT. If you earn more than 90%, then you are CPENT and also LPT master. So that is kind of bonus certificate. Same like CH practical. If you write both the exams, you will get CH master certificate. So here one single exam, but you will get 2 certificates. One is CPENT and the other one is LPT. Of course, if you are done with your masters, you will only project masters, right? Or else if you are done with your PhD, right, you will be projecting that master degree, or else the highest one that you have as the degree that you have, right? So this is also the same thing. You will say that you are LPT master, right? The most prestigious certification from EC Council, the highest level certificate in pen testing domain. There are other certifications that EC Council provide. That's a different story. For each and every area, there is a different stream. So this is highest one in the pen testing domain. And talking about the modules, as I already mentioned before, make sure that you refer 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 13. As you have seen in the ranges, right? Only these modules are going to be part of the challenges in the exam. That is why I mainly focus on these modules a lot during the 5-day training program, right? So these are the ones that for sure will hit you in the exam. And the last one is report writing. I didn't highlighted that. Of course, after completing the 24-hour exam, you will be asked to write report. I will come back to that point in a short while, but please make sure that these are the chapters that you are going to refer, including the report writing part. So wireless pen testing, cloud, there is no implementation in the practice range or else in the exam range. So there are no challenges in the exam regarding those things. And of course, the first 3 are kind of completely theory. Open source intelligence gathering, you are not going to apply because they are going to give you IP addresses. You are going to attack only that IP addresses in that range. No public domain enumeration required, no information gathering required from public websites and so on, right? So I think it can be something interesting if you want to go with open source intelligence and all. There is one more certification called PNPT, right? I think you all heard about Cyber Mentors PNPT. There, I think that is the only exam that have this open source intelligence gathering. I mean, initial foothold should be gained by doing information gathering. There's more importance given for information gathering, but in this CPENT, it is not like that. So you will be provided with the actual subset. You can directly jump right in. And social engineering, as you know, there must be some party who is executing these commands for you, or else clicking on the link, or else executing some executable, right, to give you reverse connection and so on. So that is really hard to implement or else simulate in the exam environment. So that there are no challenges related to social engineering also. Of course, if you are going with offensive securities OSCP, yes, there are some challenges, missions that you can solve for by exploiting some automated jobs or something else, right? I can't give you much details on that, but just to compare this and that, this is more than enough. And before we proceed with the last thing, the exam that you are taking is of 24 hours. 24 hours means you must imagine how much importance is given for you to spend time on doing enumeration or identifying network related details. This is the key. So in the practice range, they didn't mention any questions intentionally. Why? They want to leave that for you to explore. Even in the real life pen test, no one is going to give you a question. The client will not ask, please identify WordPress related vulnerability on this particular server. They are not going to tell you. You must do that. That is why practice range is left as it is. So you must go and explore. You must go and identify all the details. If it is possible to exploit, you can exploit. If it is not possible to exploit, you are not going to exploit. Note down the things and move on, right? This is how it goes. So initially, when you are hitting practice range, you may come across with this question mark mindset of don't know what to do, right? So what you must do there is just enumeration, prepare your own cheat sheet, or else prepare your database with all the information that you grabbed in that practice range. Now, talking about 20, anyone going with this exam for 24 hours, one single stretch, right? Especially because there is an option for you to opt for two 12-hour sessions. If there is an option for us, obviously we'll opt for that option only. The reason why I don't want you to go with 24 hours is if you are struck with something, right? You must struggle a lot in that limited time that you have and complete it. And there is no way that you can leave your desk or else take long breaks. It is not like OSCP where you can sleep and come back. No, you must complete it. You can take short breaks in this 24 hours, but not long breaks. You can't go for lunch for 1 hour. No, he will not allow. So this will be very stressful. And most of the times, if you fail on solving few challenges, again, our confidence levels go down. So this will be very irritating. That is the reason why I recommend going for 12-hour sessions. So go with 12-hour sessions. On the first 12 hours, you will get a clear picture of what kind of environment is this. Even if you are not able to solve a specific challenge or a set of challenges in one single range, you can mark that, right, where you are lagging and spend 3 more days. So minimum duration to book the next slot, next 12-hour slot is 3 days. Within that 3 days, you can concentrate and revise those concepts that you are lagging in and then appear for the second slot. I think if you are mostly done with your job in the first slot, second slot is somewhere around 1 hour or 2 hours, you can complete the exam. That is how easy it will be. But it is not the same in case of 24 hours. Of course, I don't go with any kind of research that people did telling that 24 hours exam is more failure based on the results that we see. Or everyone who took 24 hours exam, around 90% people failed. Hello. It is you who is going to take the exam. How can you compare with your skills with someone who is writing that exam? So there can be someone who is there in that training domain. Say for example, if you ask me to write, right? So I already did my CPENT. Obviously, my goal will be of gaining LPT. As I know all the ins and outs for this one from the first exam, I may complete it at a faster rate. So 24 hours thing can be a success for me. You can't take my input as part of your research and say that this is the result, this is the graph saying, no, I don't agree that. Maybe that is my personal opinion, but each and every individual must understand what is their capability of doing it, right? Don't look something else and then go according to that policy, right? So tiger is tiger, zebra is zebra, and the donkey is donkey, right? By simply putting on stripes, donkey cannot behave like a zebra, or else donkey cannot behave like a tiger, right? So you must understand what is your skill set. That can be done by you only. You are the only master, right? To decide whether you are perfect for this company or not, to decide whether you are able to achieve success in this exam or not. Obviously, you will get that confidence on whether you are able to solve it or not. This is why I say practice range. If you are done with the practice range, then you can build that confidence, right? So once you are done with that, you can go with the second slot exam, and completing the second slot. After the second slot of exam, you will be given 7 days of time to prepare report. How your report must look like. In general, the pen testing report template and what we did in the session on the second day or third day, right? That is the same exact thing that you must do. You must include screenshots and everything. But what we did there, we did a kind of walkthrough there for the mission. But in the exam, you need to provide solutions for the challenges that are given. So all the challenges, say first range, you need to mention this is the range and how many challenges are there. For each and every challenge, you must tell or detailedly explain what is the process that you have followed to solve it. Right? So I actually train candidates for 300 hours on a course called as CSP at Hacker School, where we implement or else feed this as a seed at the initial days of that course. By the end of that course, I used to conduct an exam where I used to give them a practical lab setup that they are going to do on their own end, on their own mission. Take 10 days of time for that, right? Not like OSCP 24 hours or LCPEN 24 hours. 10 days of time. Mission will be there with them, right? All they must do is to find out flags on both the missions, or 2 to 3 different missions. All are interlinked. Means there are some firewalls in place. See, mission will be in your end. You can Google, you can go and check any kind of content online. You can watch YouTube videos, you can refer material, whatever you want, you do. No one is watching you, right? But I can give you guarantee that you will not be able to find the solution directly on the internet, because that is the mission that I designed right from the base, right? Only including the concepts that I've explained in the class. If you are there with the sessions, if you are there with the right concepts that I've mentioned, and as you know, I always make sure that leaving 1 or 2 things here and there to understand whether am I teaching them right or not. So if by simply observing their report, I can tell where they are lagging. If they take a different route on solving that mission, I know that this is the area where they lost, or this is the area where they lag. So after this kind of training, I used to give them the mission, and after solving that mission, they will write a detailed report and email it to me personally. I will take time on reviewing that and giving them feedback on that, where the areas that they can actually improve. So that is the base for picking up one of the sessions for all of you in day 2 or day 3, giving you the process of how to prepare a walkthrough, right? So make sure that you take advantage of building that habit by solving multiple missions. Vuln Hub is one too good platform where you can get a lot of vulnerable missions, right? I hope most of you have heard about it before. Hack the Box is kind of complex, right? For beginners, especially who are completely new to pen testing or security, but Vuln Hub is too good. So self-promotion. So there are 3 missions under the name of Pumpkin, Mission Pumpkin, that I shared with One Hub team. Right, so these 3 missions are completely beginner level missions. You can actually start with this pumpkin raising, pumpkin garden, pumpkin festival kind of story that is built, more CTF kind of challenge. But there are some real life challenges also. Yet another thing that I refer as DC series. Right, simply search for DC09 or DC1 or DC2. You will be able to see DC missions. Right, so DC, a good friend of mine. Let me go and search for DC One Hub. So you can take advantage of downloading these kind of missions and writing solutions for it of your own. Right? Say, for example, when I say this, this can be projected as a skill to the companies. People come up saying that there are tons of articles related to this. How can my article will be different from others? See, your methodology of pen testing is different from others. If you search for walkthrough, so walkthrough for Mission Pumpkin. You will see tons of different articles that are written. Even hacking articles have some article. There are YouTube videos on the same pumpkin mission, pumpkin garden, pumpkin festival, right? Trust me, even though it is me who created it, I learned a lot of new techniques from the walkthroughs that I've seen from them. Because my perspective on giving that challenge is different from the way how they solved it. Right, so this is the reason why you must go and take a look at others' approach. We can never ever become an expert, right? So to become a good security engineer, one thing that you must remove from your brain is expert. No, you are getting job not because of expert, but not because you are expert in that domain. There are so many scenarios where experts got struggled with different issues. Right, there are so many scenarios where freshers who are completely new at it are able to solve it. So take advantage of looking at walkthrough. If you are stuck at something, write your own version and then put them on LinkedIn. Let people read. Right, why everyone will show interest? Only someone who is interested in that may go through your article. They may have seen your work, they are really impressed, and unfortunately if he is the one owning so and so company or else working in a company as a penetration tester, and if there is a requirement, who knows, he may come in contact with you or LinkedIn. So this is how it works. It is not like you must wait for someone to call you, right? No one will call you here until and unless you are something special. Right, until unless they know that you are good, until unless they know your work, they are not going to call you. Are you understanding? So you must stand out, you must project that skill. That really helps you in preparing documentation and also give you the actual skill of projecting what is the area that you are working in. So for the 7 days time, right, you must complete the report immediately after the second slot of your exam. If you're taking 24 hours, after that 24 hours, within 7 days, write the report. 7 days is more than enough, right? So after completing that, submitting the report somewhere around weekdays, right? Within weekdays or else 2 to 3 days, you may get a response from EC Council team saying that you passed the exam, right? So go with the positives NCR. So thinking that you got LPT also. This is how the thing works. That is the entire process of the exam. Now, areas that you must focus, I already stressed during the training period, right? You can go through the recorded lectures to get back the content, but a shortcut version is there on the screen right now. make sure that there is some kind of firewall, there is some kind of router level security, there is some kind of application level security that is blocking attacks. You must understand that and take some other approach. That is the reason why not all questions in the exam are CTF kind. Not all questions are going to ask you to exploit, right? Most of the questions you can answer without exploitation, right? And don't go with the CTF mindset. When I am saying exploitation, if there is a possibility to exploit, yes, there will be, right? Not with Metasploit. Best example is the tunneling concepts that we have learned before. There is a SSH port that is open on one machine. Using that, we tunneled our traffic through all internal devices. We have seen WordPress application. We gained access to that machine. Using that, we gained access to a bunch of other devices inside that network. Are you understanding? So don't always think like there will be an exploit available in Metasploit. You can simply run that and get access. Oh, that is not the way how the real life will be. Network engineers are not always dumb. They know the security measures at times. You are not going to test a small scale industry every time, right? So there can be experts in the networking. They may set up advanced level security measures. You don't even imagine about that, right? Don't think that you are always smart. Give chance for others also at times, okay? So please make sure that you are not going with the CTF mindset. Then it is easy for you to go with the exam, right? This is the exam pattern for CPENT. If you are planning to write CPENT, take time, go through, revise, make sure that you are confident with the materials that are present. Only after you are thorough with the materials that are present, then you can approach the CPENT exam. And this is for the actual 24-hour CPENT exam from EC Council. But the internal exam that Shinu ma'am is planning to conduct, that is completely different, right? It is not like this level. It is from the challenges that I have explained you during the session itself. If you are there with the running notes, so end of the day, the outcome for this module is to make sure that you got the inputs from me, at the same time, the material that you are referring. Just to test that, I already created a mission and I shared with them, and they are going to approach you with that. So you will be asked to go and capture the flag and copy the contents of, submit the contents of user flag and root flag. User flag will be there on the user's home location. Root flag will be there under root user's home location. You know the process, right? So don't worry about that. That is a very easier side. As I mentioned, it is not complex as the first day challenge. Why I gave you a complex challenge on day one? Because I want to explain that in internal pen testing. That is the reason why I gave you that. But this is a bit simpler. So by simply going through the recorded lectures and looking at the notes for this 5 days, you can easily solve that box. All right. So that's all from my side. Ma'am, any inputs that you want to push?
I want to hear from them. All of them are muted. So, Devinder? Devinder is there?
So, my dear friends, what's your view onto the CPENT exam? Or else let's talk about the session. Are you all satisfied? Are you all able to learn something new? Right? So no matter either it is from my side or else Reva side, we always look forward to make sure that you are there with the right skill set. So that is
Ma'am,
what companies are looking for.
Devinder has put in a text that he cannot speak. He's logged in through web.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, you can.
Others? Somebody please speak up about the session, the feedback. Are you comfortable? Because we have already postponed the exams for everyone's practice time. We can't postpone anymore because we have to move on. Next whole week we will let you go, but after that you must complete the exam.
One thing that I can tell you is the CPENT exam, the internal exam that we are planning is simple, right? You don't need to put more efforts on reading everything in the material, right? But if you are going with CPENT 24-hour exam, then for sure you must go through all the materials that I've mentioned. Okay.
Dr. Shrinu, this is Muthukrishna.
Yes.
As we said, we can after a week's time we can take internal CPEN test, but we need time till for to carry out a CH or CHFI because it's been a continuous what is that session that we are having, and we have almost parked the CH or a CHFI. We are into a CPEN, so we can take a CPEN internal exam on 9th of July. That would
Okay.
be possible.
Okay. Muthu is the one who completed CEH, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Shinu,
So you are working on CHFI by yourself.
yes.
Okay. How was your CEH practical? Which one you have taken?
I took the theory one. I did not go with the practical one.
Okay.
That was on the go. We had the session, and then we just took the exam.
Immediately
So
after that.
it was, but a
Okay.
break again. We need to
Since
relook
CPENT is
onto
not the
the.
final certification, we would
Okay.
go with an internal exam if all of you are ready. That is fine. But CEH, we will come back to you on theory or practical. We would want all of you to look at practical than theory, because it's not just the certification that matters, at least at your age. It's the skill that matters, right? So please stretch little bit. I know it is, it's going to take a toll, but it's really worth it. Anyone else on the anything else that you want to speak on the session or on the exam?
Sheena, I just want to give the feedback on the session. We really had a very good trainer, Jayant. I really want to appreciate the knowledge or the what is that the way you conducted it or answering to us was really very what is that neat and smooth. Rather than getting into conversation, we really appreciate the knowledge that you have and what is the techniques that you have walked us through how to gain access, and it was really a very enjoyable what is that session we had. I really had that.
Thank you so much.
That's so
It's
so
my
glad
pleasure.
to know. Yes. That's so
Yes, that
great
is
to know.
my goal, and I also want you all to understand that. See, more you enjoy the process of learning, more you will be putting in, more you can take the complex concepts, right? So it is not going to stop anytime soon. See, especially if you are going to act as a security engineer, and I think Muthu can easily understand that, or else Mr. Mahendran, who is the one who is working as a forensic part of forensic team. Is it Mr. Muthu? If you are
Yeah, everything. I take care of incident management, threat hunting, threat intel, and digital forensic investigation, and along with the information security designing and initial implementation.
I know that if you are master at one thing, obviously you will be pushed on to all other domains also. That is quite common in any of the organizations. So I think this is very clear for you. Day by day, the challenges will be new. Even though you have experience, every new day, new challenge, and a new chance for you to learn something new, right? So this is not going to end anytime soon. So if you are into security, especially, you must learn things daily basis, right? So make sure that you are there with the right fundamentals so that you can enjoy the process of learning new things on daily basis. I'm so happy. I'm so overwhelmed with all the kind words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jayant, for that.
Jayant, are we going to talk anything about the report preparation?
Report preparation, we actually did one of the sessions where we covered that. I hope you are there in that session too. We solved we solved that HS box, and I explained the report writing along with that thing only. I shared the template also.
If it is possible, would it be possible to share a sample?
Yes, it is already there in LMS.
Okay.
We uploaded the same thing on LMS, and you can also refer the recorded lecture. I think it is day 2 or day 3. We solved that mission. So that is the same exact fashion. So you don't need to use any kind of fancy report preparation tools. Something like I don't know. People use a lot of different frameworks for this. If I'm not wrong, you may be using some Droid or something else, right? So you don't need to worry about using complex ones. You know that I prepared my report using Google Docs. That's it. Google Docs. Make sure that everything is written, export, share. That's it.
Anyone want to speak from those who are completely new to this domain, got exposed to CPENT for the first time?
Yeah,
Anyone?
I'm new, and I think it has been. I think we have a really rock solid expert in Jayant, looks like, and he has been on the run with all the technical concepts, never kind of doubting himself or having to kind of look up anything. So it looks like it's all, I think all his skills are visible for us. So thank you, Jayant. I think it has been really good sessions for us.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you so much for your kind words. So that is our goal. See, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. There is a lot more to it. So CPENT is really complex. That doesn't mean that it is going to make you an expert. So not only for see, even I take corporate trainings, and I also interact with candidates who are completely fresh, completely beginners. Do you know that for the past 1 year or 1.5 years, so I cleared my CPENT somewhere in October 21st. Yes, 2021. It is just 1 year. Uh, I handled bunch of different batches where there are candidates who are just 10 years old. Can you believe that? So there is a candidate who is just 10 years. He cleared his CH, he cleared his CH practical, his CH master, and he approached us for CPENT. Right? So why we are still talking about experience? I don't know why. Right? It is all about the skill set now. So this is all about how you are going to work for me. So if there is some servant that you are looking for to work at your premises, right? Are you going to check whether they are coming in BMW or not? No, not at all. Are you going to check what are the graduation degrees that they have? No. You will always look at what they are going to do for us. That is very important. Obviously, if you know that they are coming in BMW, you will reject them for sure. No doubt. Why? Because they will ask you for higher pays. This is the same thing happens in the company also. You are joining an organization to help them in any kind of issues that the organization may face. So they always check whether you are the perfect fit. And moreover, one common misconception that people have is security roles. They are not that easy to grab. Yes, of course, it is not easy. Why? Because how someone can trust you on that basis? See, how can I call someone, some random person, and give him an opportunity to test my web application? How I can say, let us take Amazon, right? Amazon who handles a lot of different infrastructures. A lot of them are user-based sensitive information. How can Amazon trust on a random candidate and give them an opportunity to perform pen test? No, they are going to test each and every in and out. Even when you are purchasing a product, say for example, if you are going for a vegetable market, you are going to test that thing multiple times before you purchase it. The same thing happens even in the company. So we must always make sure that we are there at the right skill set. Then your process of getting job becomes very, very, very simple. I'm able to see a lot of messages in the chat. Thank you so much. Thanks a ton for all your kind feedback. I'm so happy that the things helped you a lot. But please make sure that this is just the beginning, not everything.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Soumya. Thank you so much, Miss Saranya. Thank you so much, Miss Amy. Thank you so much, Miss Sweta. And please
Team,
note
if you
that.
have any other doubts, you can clarify it now.
Yes. So, my dear friends, any questions that you have before you register for CH practical exam or else CH theory exam or else some other CPENT exam, especially CPENT exam, you can write me an email. But if I'm not responding back immediately, please don't feel bad, right? Even WhatsApp messages or something else. I'm not a mobile guy, so I'm not more into checking my chat every time. So it is very rare, and most of the time I'll be busy with the session. So please don't feel bad if I'm not responding immediately. It may take time, but for sure I will be responding, right? You may find my LinkedIn, but that is not a place where I frequently respond back. So please make sure that you drop me an email if you want immediate or else fastest reply as possible, right? So it is jayendra.b@cartelsoftware.com. Thanks a ton, Mr. Karthik. Thanks a ton, Ms. Deepthi.
So just want to
Okay.
check the final plan. Next week we are taking a break, is it?
Yes, yes. So CPENT internal exam, this is going to be how many hours, Jayant? You think those
Actually,
tests?
I'm not sure about how the grading scheme works at Reva, but my plan is to go with the same CTF kind of thing that I have already
Yes.
did on day one of the exam, day one of this course, right?
Okay.
In general, I usually give them more time for practice, and the practice is not like doing this thing on some other mission, but this is the exam mission that they are going to do the practice, right?
Yes, yes.
So exam itself is the practice. This is how I conduct exams at Hacker School. So this is the pattern that we follow. So what I do is I'll give them the mission. There is nothing like we are going to host it somewhere and then give them remote access to it and do it. No, not like that. They can host this mission anytime that they want, right? Say if something went wrong, they can remove that VM and then load it once again. So we simply share that mission with them, and we can give them somewhere around weekdays time to go and explore, because that is not that complex mission. If there are multiple missions that we share, then we may extend the duration, but somewhere between 5 to 7 days is more than enough for that. So if there are more days, obviously that will spoil your learning experience. So I don't want to spoil that. So 5 days to 7 days, based on how the university rules are, how the program related rules are going to accept that. So we can give them the mission, and after 7 days of 5 days or 7 days of duration, on or before the last day of submission, you must submit a report for it. Report in the same exact pattern. We already shared the template. You can actually look at the template in the LMS, download the template and make sure that you prepare report based on that, and include each and every step, right, that you have performed to achieve the goal of grabbing the contents of this user flag and root flag. That's it. So if you are able to submit both the things along with the contents of it with the report, done. So the report is kind of proof. And now, based on the program related requirements, ma'am, you can actually decide on how you grade them and how much time we can give them. But the end goal is this.
Okay, okay, sure. So that means definitely we will go with Giant's advice that you will get some time, though we may open up the exam by 9th, right? 9th we will open up, but we would, because all of you are working, uh, complete it as early as possible. And the rest of the quiz and etc. we have captured already. So CPENT would go like that. And immediately after the next week is the CEH, which is going to be a proctored exam, right? So
Yes,
after
CH is
that, we will
a-
continue the module. Fine.
And please note that the theory or the multiple choice thing that we conducted is just for the requirements of this module as part of the program Reva is conducting. But CPENT actual exam is not a theory exam. I just want to confirm this once again. This is not a theory exam. There is a lot of false information on the internet. I don't know why people start pushing all unnecessary YouTube videos. They don't even take the exam. They keep on writing reviews. And there is nothing that they can verify. I mean, the authenticity of the candidate. Is that candidate already done with the CPENT exam or nothing, something else? We don't know. But the saddest truth is people are not going to refer the official websites, right? From EC Council or something else to know how the exam pattern is and so on. Please make sure that you are not falling into some false information, right? Make sure that you understand what is the pattern, how the questions will be and so on, and then decide. So no theory questions asked in the CPENT exam, right? Every question is going to be a challenge, right? Same like the ones that I explained. So there are a lot of requests that I received last week and a few days before. So I just want to dedicate today's session giving you all the inputs related to the exam while I'm going with the concepts. I think that helps you a lot. So anyone who missed the session today, ask them to go and watch the recorded lecture once again for today's session so that they can get the exam pattern, right? So there is no theory questions asked in the CPENT exam.
Okay. So thank you so much from our end as well, Jayant. It has been more or less I was part of the session, but though I couldn't communicate openly. Thank you so much. I think it's been wonderful experience all of them had, and hoping that all of you would complete, because Jayant will become successful if all of you complete and clear the exam, right?
Yes,
Not
of
just
course. That is my goal. I want everyone I train to be there with LPT master, right? So me not achieving it is not at all a big issue, right? Me giving you the help to reach that mark is the real success, right? But the thing is, I always observe people feel difficult to take that initial step, right? I always keep on saying it is easy, it is easy, it is easy, but they will feel difficult whether they can attempt it or not. Hello, I am there. You move forward, take that initial step, right? Only if you face it, you will be able to know. So without facing it, there is no option, right? It is simply foolishness sitting back and thinking that it is really complex. No, it is not that complex. And
did you clear in one attempt, Jayant?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that is really great. So I don't know how many of you are going and doing the CPENT final exam, but we would love to know how many of you are interested. We can look at a better certification cost, etc. At least 40-50% of the class must go for CPENT. But otherwise, internal exam, we will give you an internal certification, which may not have the validity like a CPENT exam, right? Certification. So I don't think we must worry so much. We must act on it, practice, and then face it. That's all.
Thank you so much. Even I enjoyed thoroughly through the actual 5 sessions. So everything that we discussed is going to help you a lot in clearing the exam. So don't worry. Please take that further step of attempting and then gaining that credential, right? Of course, if you are heading towards pen testing, I highly recommend that. But if you are not looking into pen testing, but some other role, then you may go with some other certification instead of CPENT, right? So only if you are more into pen testing, then I highly recommend taking up CPENT, right?
Okay.
So
Okay,
I think we can probably gather some interest from members, ma'am.
Yes.
Like if anybody is interested, I think first anyway, of course, we'll focus on CEH, clearing CEH. And maybe Jayant suggested, we'll probably take 3 months time to properly prepare it. And people who are interested, we can just give our names and we can try to procure the voucher.
Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Absolutely.
Samir. Thank you so much, Mr. Devinder. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ramya.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone, Jayant. Hope
Thank you.
everyone will be in touch with Jayant.
Sure,
and,
sure, sure, sure.
let us know. Okay.
But one thing, please make sure that you don't feel bad if I'm not replying immediately. So as you all know, it is really hard for me. So mostly, if you are going to write a lengthy email, please make sure that you write it by the end of the day. Early in the morning, I will be looking into my emails, so you can expect immediate answers, right? All right then.
Ma'am, Soumya has a doubt if CEH exam is practical or theory.
That we will come back to you by end of the day. We are having a discussion today, but I would strongly urge and look for practical than theory. You want an easy exam, or we will also give you some kind of a choice, but you can choose between theory and practical. But just give me some more time to come back on it. But we would want all of you to look at practical. MTech, your degree is MTech, not those who are in MS may look at theory and all, but all of you are going to position yourself as cybersecurity skilled professionals. So theory has less validity here. We will decide and let you know, Soumya.
Yeah, okay, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jayant, especially for a wonderful session. We will be in touch, right?
Sure. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. I enjoyed it thoroughly. We'll see you all. Hopefully, we'll see you all soon. Please make sure that you keep on pushing all your emails with any kind of queries that you have while you are practicing, right? So instead of WhatsApp message, I think it is better you push me an email, right? So mostly my mobile phone will be silented, right? I am extremely sorry. Even organizers used to message me during the session. During the session, I used to throw my phone away. So I will not be able to answer. So please make sure that you push me an email for sure. We'll get back to you soon, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank
The
you.
final conclusion. We'll see you all soon. Until then, this is Jayant signing off. Tada. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Everyone. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.